Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. You guys are going to stay tuned today and also share my videos after discovering that not only am I one of the world's biggest psychics and geniuses that there is on earth, I am also God's chosen one that came from God himself on earth to serve a mission and also bring awareness to the fact that we are also living in Judgment Day. I want to bring awareness to our mothers who are encouraging our younger women to sleep with men and to sleep with older men to pay their bills or to buy them things or to benefit off of them. That is never, ever, ever, ever okay for a mother to ever advise her daughter to do such thing. And on top of advising their daughter to do such things, to deliberately and intentionally encourage this young lady to become less than what she is deserving is not good leadership. Not at all, no type of way, no shape or form. Should no man aggressively hit his daughter. In my eyes, no man should hit his daughter, because if you give your energy to hit your daughter, you give that same energy of other men to hit your daughter. That's why fathers are responsible for sons' discipline, while the son run to the mother for nourishments. And the mother disciplined the daughter. And the daughter who runs to the father for nourishments and love from the discipline from the mother. So that's why things work out like that. No boys should really be punched on. I know they make you want to, and sometimes you gotta, but they are not nobody's punch bag. And sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Like I said, there's a difference between discipline, beating. There's no right or wrong way. Long as you take it up with God, long as God forgive you and you feel like what you did was the best decision, because we are really aware when we lose our heads and kind of go overboard, then you feel a compassion, and we don't want to keep doing that. Like, it's damaging to the both when we could talk about these things, or clearly if you want to get smart and attack this child and they feel like they want to say something back, like, wait a minute, like, you going overboard. Well, they should have the personal freedom to just let that ride off some days and just close your doors. Boom, I bet you that y'all gonna come back like, I'm sorry. Just because you're not being so confrontational and attackful, everything ain't gotta be that serious. I used to be that serious, like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And I just learned how to be like my child's best friend. I listened to Dr. Sagru, and he had mentioned, do you want to be the person that your do you want to be the person that your child call on Or do you want your child to call somebody else and be sneaking? Or if there's an emergency, like, do you want your child to be comfortable to call you, for safety, to walk them through that process? Versus if you doing something you ain't supposed to, you gonna go. But now they're in the hands of authority. They're in the hands of people who trying to harm them. They can't even call you because you about to cuss them out instead of being understanding. That some people is just born in situations now and understanding that okay, I may be struggling in this area, but I'm calling you to see if, you can give me advice, see how you can help me, versus, a person with narcissism and manipulative behavior that never learns from these lessons. But if it's just, teenagers experiencing a couple of hiccups here and there and feel like they need to go do something to learn a lesson, okay, go do it. Do what you got to do before you become bringing this energy into adulthood. But as long as these children is not doing it and abusing it, where it's going on consistently every day, all day, nonstop, and just being very defiant to it, well then, it's okay to allow them to make mistakes. It's okay to allow children to express how they feel to the parent, because if the parent have that right, why don't the child? That makes sense. Like, we got to be fair to things, It's about abusing authority too. Some parents just think like we have that right. We don't. Everybody should feel on the same page. Everybody should be understanding of each other's feelings, see people's feelings from each other's perspectives. Like, that's how you learn each other. Like, can nobody think the same? Can nobody do the same things? Can nobody learn the same? Can nobody think the same 9 to 5? Can nobody work the same 9 to 5? Like, everybody different. Like, what I see, y'all can't see. What y'all see, I probably can't see. What's for you is for you. What's for me is for me. And that's why it's our job to express these things. We also have to watch these guys who are around our babysitters and our children, because most of these guys are grown guys and these teenagers are still our children, and these guys prey up on these young girls and manipulate them and molest them with money and taking their innocence away from them with being very molestful to a person who is entirely not ready for them, versus a teen who is of consensual age, just have a preference and don't have the guidance and have a person who genuinely connect with her, because she may not connect with others her age, may just be too mentally mature from her survival skills that they understand each other. So God do things for a reason. That's why some men like older women, some men like younger women, some men like, everybody just like what they like. But this is another part of the reasons on things that we were taught back in ancestral history, where a lot of teens married older men, had families, and just lived happy, prosperous lives. But, some people are abusing that kind of authority and energy, and some of these men are just flat out not being genuine in those behaviors. In fact, they just luring young women in. And I, in fact, was a victim when I was 15. I had only dealt with the one person, but he would cheat on me and, just teen things that went on. But then he started dating older women, and they were like throwing themselves at him. And so I said, okay. And I started to date an older man who, me and my crew thought was cute, them and their crew. But we had also noticed that out of all the men, one man told me yes, while the others would tell my crew, nah, you gotta wait till you 18. But this person, he was already 23. And I was like, that was like a bonus for us, for guys that want to talk to us that was older than us, especially when we don't have no guidance, And so, he telling me I'm a beautiful queen and just luring me in, asking me to braid his hair, because me and my sister would be two of the biggest hair braiders in a community as teens, and we will have designs in each other's hair. She was way more advanced than me. Like, she had the best styles, the best parts, the best everything. I was more of a rush braider. You gonna get these parts how I can give them to you, but she was more of the calm and nurturing. That's just the spirit she had always had from raising her youngest sibling, and just spending a lot of time babysitting her cousin. She just was the nurturer of the family. Hell, she was just nurturing to her mother and grandmother. She just brought the love, the joy, the silliness, the comfort, the protection and peace, But she also brought the firecracker, the lighter, everything else. But to move on, as you can see, these older men are luring these teen girls in here with strengthening their self-esteem with lust and robbing them at just too young of an age. They just not ready for that. Their wombs are not ready for that. They are too pure, and that's why they are so lost. That's why they so are just ready to jump in and be a parent. Like, no, y'all is robbing our young women from being the future leaders, doctors, lawyers, to you rubbing off actually your negative, low vibrating, lustful energies off to these young women, for one, and then have the nerve to call them names and out their names because they are acting in a source of energy that you are putting into their womb. They are acting as a reflection of you. And we are considered name calling and being attacked for having too many children, but men don't even experience the same thing. We are being attacked for being cheaters, but men are not being accountable for being cheaters. We are being attacked for being everything that the man is being, and it comes from the same man who is injecting his energies inside of us. So they really be mad at themselves and attacking themselves. And then they talk about how the women's vaginas look from how they feel, what other men made it look like, with giving themselves that much ego, when in fact it only looks that way because this mother gave birth to children. And anytime you give birth to children, your vagina kind of goes inside out, and it have to go back in form, and it will never look the same. It will never look the same. It can heal up. It can heal up beautifully, but it will always make a difference. So it's not from the woman disrespecting her body. is from the children she's having. Also, we have mothers out here kind of prostituting their daughters out to sleep with men for money to raise their children. Your children's job is not to raise their siblings. I've never forced that on my children, and I will never. Also, because children are not mothers. There are mothers taking their children out of school, making these children be parents to the babies that they wanted and that they prayed and wished for. And then when they get the wish, these babies are becoming the children of the oldest children. And these oldest children are catching real emotions of a mother for their siblings and having natural mother instincts. And that is making this child prepare for motherhood. I've even watched a mother take a child out of school. I went to the parent of the baby, and I told the father, hey, what she doing is not okay. These children should be in school. She is locking them in a house all day for 12 hours a day, watching this baby, and they are too young for this. They are not getting sleep at night for school. They are sleeping during school. They are coming to me for help and support. And I don't know what to do. And I know your other child that he and his wife had took their child to a daycare. And I said, hey, he can go there too. But this was kind of like a person who preached the word and kind of made this baby through wedlock. And I had a calling to be there for the baby on this person's behalf as the father, to hold her hand because she had had an emergency cesarean. And on top of it, I said, hey, this is not okay. I also was trying to help her get her GED, help her study to pass her STNAs, but she just really wasn't focused. She was eating all the wrong things, which is why the child had to reside with me freshly out the hospital, straight out of the mother's womb, who he recognized his mother because she just was a very great nurturing mother to him, even from inside the womb. She just treated him so beautifully because that's just always the spirit she had. She's just a beautiful person, but sometimes we just need to make better choices and see things from a bigger view, and understand that sometimes how we were raised, we cannot raise our children in the same ways. That's why we always want to raise our children better than how we were raised. But like I said, saying don't mean that you raise your child better than your mother raised you. It's just that you learn a lot of things from experience of what to do and what not to do next time. So that's all that is. And you know, when people don't have support or just the right guidance, they just really don't know. I really love this person. I also love that family, you know what I mean? That family taught me a lot. The guidance that I didn't have, and the mother and that I didn't have, the grandmother, I just felt like I needed to run to. The sisters that I needed. One could sing so beautiful. I would try to get her to join American Idol, but you know, she just loved to sing for fun. I don't think she just had the confidence, but she definitely would have made it because she just spirited like that. She what they need, and she was just very nurturing. And on top of it, my sister, she was my protection. She was my Leo. She's a Leo, very challenging. It didn't matter if she was mad at us. It didn't matter what went on. If somebody tried to mess with us, she was coming on deck. She gonna throw that punch before you do. You gonna get mad because now you feel like the punk, but that was just her. She was very competitive, challenging, and that's just the spirit that she carries within her zodiac. So she's very determined, but she's very silly and very compassionate as well. And also, us babysitters, sometimes we are keeping children for too long at young ages. And because we are taking on responsibility for these young children at young ages, we young women are having motherly intuitions because now, while the parents are gone for so long, they have to carry on these big responsibilities of losing sleep and having to provide, having to cook, having to nurture the sleep. And it's kind of becoming too much on these teenagers, rather they are the oldest sibling or, you know, just the babysitter. And because of this, these young girls, like I said, are having motherly intuitions. That's why I've always asked my mother to keep my children, because I didn't want my oldest child to ever feel that way. And we also have to watch sibling abuse within the home too, because some of the grandmothers are making the children feel like black sheeps, like I said. And not only that, some of these children are bullying the other children within the homes, and they think that they are joking, but they are not joking. They in fact are causing trauma onto the siblings. For example, like taking it back to the childhood, my siblings used to tell their friends about me wetting the bed from seeing this spirit and being traumatized. They even made a song about me. They mocked me and said I wet the bed till I was 18, and kind of brought society to laugh at me and mock me. And one of my siblings would even like just walk past me as a child and just cock me in the neck or frog me in the arm to make me cry. He would never speak to me. He would always be mean to me. He would tell me to get out of his room, chase me and try to hit me, and just was rude. And when he would, and when they would force me to watch scary movies and I would scream and cover my face, and be scared to go to bed at night and try to lock my baby dolls up in this table I had, because I would have nightmares of Chucky trying to kill me. He would make me sleep on the dog couch full of dog fur in the basement. And my other sibling would be nice enough, you know, to let me sleep at the foot of the bed, or, you know, just let me into his room, or just do nice things because he was just nice. But this sibling that would help me, I will also heal him from the traumas of abuse that he suffered in his childhood with band-aiding him, causing the abuser to stop and forcing him to stop to help him. So we were each other's protector. But because he suffered for so many childhood wounds within abandonments, not having a father around, no male guidance, not having a mother around, he began to just explode and have ADHD, which required him to run around extremely everywhere, which I've experienced in my youngest son, which is my second son in the karmic circle around. So he is the fourth son, but the second son of the second part of the karmic cycle. So he was really my brother again in a different form. And also, this brother would get hit for everything, for being so hyper. That's where the abuse started from. Getting hit upside the head from multiple people from being so hyper and not being able to get therapy for these traumas that he needed to heal. And because I was secretly healing myself, I didn't know. And one of my other siblings would just run to my grandmother's home because he was kind of like the gifted child back then, would run to my grandmother's home out of fear and just, that was it. And so that's why a lot of the males spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house and really didn't want to be home, because she just gave them that nourishment to let them just be chilled and to just heal that stress that was caused upon them from just things that was going on that may have been unaware or just not resolved. We just don't know the situations. Like I said, nobody should be embarrassed because people had a calling to do things. It's not about us. It's about our story. It's about bringing awareness to those who these things are happening for and writing a story about it to save others and humanity, to help them get over these things. So nothing is never about you. And because we were healing each other, I was the natural healer, he was my protector. We grew up in that way, but I inherited some low vibrating energies from him, from just being around unhealed childhood wounds within himself. And it kind of grew into adulthood with more aggressive behaviors. And like I said, they are sending us to therapists that do not resonate with us and we cannot trust, because all of these therapists that we are assigned to go to are kind of the same race as the people that we really cannot trust. And it's hard to open up and let things out. And that's why I was gifted to be led to a psychologist who was the same reflection of me, where I could feel safe, and they were able to give me the confidence to discover who I was and to heal myself. And like I said, this person was telling me that meditation was scary to do and that I should not do it, kind of from the false religion that was brought on to them, and many of those just across the world that did not know. And and I'm happy I kept going within, because the more I kept doing it, he started seeing a tremendous, when I say a tremendous difference in me, he couldn't believe it. And he was wondering, how did I do these things? And I would tell him how, but he just still would think that it was wrong, and I just no longer, you know, needed any services, because I also noticed once I was done healing from traumas and I felt better and had the confidence, I no longer needed to see him until it was something else I may needed help getting over with. But he also inspired me to write a book, and which led me to something beyond more than the book. I'm like, look, it's something bigger than a book. He like, no, telling a book. I'm like, look, if I make it in a video, people will see me across the world. I will get help writing my books. I will get the resources I need. And he like, you know, you right. And I had this big illusion in my head it was going to go this way. And as you can see, it did not, in fact, go that way at all. People was looking at me weird. What are you talking about? What are you doing? She is so nice. And it was just bringing compassion to others. And I started to see a difference. Even though I didn't see the support in it, I felt the audience. I didn't see them, I felt them. And I also seen them. Every time I post on stories, it just let me know that so many people was watching on TikTok, just the views. But I was getting less on my YouTube because I was learning everything myself. Everything that I've overcame, I did it by myself with no help at all. Only those from my soul tribe on YouTube for free that helped me get along with resonating, with researching things, researching certain backgrounds of things, and just that's it. I didn't need nobody but me, God, and my ancestors. And that's how I made it by. That's how I had the confidence to make the YouTube. That's how I had the confidence to overcome just everything and was comfortable to make videos on how I did these things and how I wasn't ready, but jumping out on faith will bring along the people who understands you and bring along the support that you don't have and just take you farther. So that's why it's always safe for the community to support each other and uplift each other. Because when you envy each other, you see nobody's grows. But just like the 90s, when all parents held hands together and that one cop shot that one person in our city, we put up a riot. We banned those people who were racist out of our neighborhood. In fact, blacks couldn't go in a white neighborhood, whites couldn't go in a black neighborhood, and that was fine with each other. And we also suffered a lot of racisms within our school systems, where we were forced to go to a racist white school, where our brothers were catching sexual harassment charges from the girls that were attracted to the male of colors, but their parents didn't approve in it. And because of this, we in the black community were catching sexual harassment charges at school. I've also my first fight had got into an altercation with a girl from the opposite race who called a biracial girl that I went to school with, along with her sister, a N-word, aggressively, at the very top of the bleachers. And I said, excuse me, you will never use that language again. In fact, I want you to call me one. And when she went to get smart, she couldn't get a word out. And before she tried to kick me, she was already heading down those bleachers before a teacher grabbed me and swung me off the bleacher. And had I not held on to him and he grabbed onto her, I would have failed. And so I chose to defend myself with swinging back at the teacher, and they said I was not wrong for defending myself against the girl, but because the teacher used aggressive force with me and I used it back, that I had to get recommended expulsion for 180 days. And I also had to go up against what we call Uncle Tom, a person who refuses to see the truth in things and overlook them for the opposite race to keep their position. And that was not right. And I had to get kicked out and go to an alternative school for defending myself. And it also wasn't right in school that the black girls were told we couldn't wear shorts past how long our arms was. But then the girls who wasn't of color could wear little shorts. And then when we complain about it, they say because we are fully, because our bottoms are bigger than this person, but their boobs were bigger than ours, and they can wear seductive shirts that show cleavage. Not only that, a lot of children that we went to junior high school with had also from the opposite race were very addicted to drugs. I mean, snorting pills, snorting volumes, snorting pixie stick candy sticks, eating weed. When the police would come in and search lockers, there would never ever in life be a black student who would get caught with drugs. They were only the race of the white Caucasian race, and that was it. And these children will hurry up and eat drugs, eat weed, swallow them, almost kill themselves, so the police wouldn't catch them in their lockers. I've also suffered a lot of trauma because even as a child, my cousins had the gift of doing cheering. My family tried to put me in cheering, and it just wasn't for me. I had kind of like a spirit of one of my aunts, that creativity, that spark, who was over the drill team. My mom's twin. I had to go through the soul of my ancestors. So every time they would teach me cheerleading, I would dance the move, and they just went on and kicked me out and put me on drill team. And so when I tried out for cheerleading at this school, my first time in high school, or my first time in junior high school, I was excited. I went fair square with this Caucasian girl, and because she's been a cheerleader her whole life, she worked hard, but I worked hard too, and I won that position. We had performed off of the song "Raise the Roof" by Luke, and I was jamming to the beat where she couldn't catch onto the beat because she was getting distracted from me, but I wasn't getting distracted from her because I had studied really hard. And even as a child, no one could ever beat me in a dance contest. I will always win. I will always be shy, but when I hear a good beat of a music, I would just start waking up and expressing myself, and I've always just won. And I even got cheated from someone that was, family friends with my family. They were all good Christian. They came from a great Christian family, and we had a dance contest, and I outbeat her, and I kind of won it. And her mother was not happy that her cousins put me on that team, that she, in fact, made them kick me off the team, put her cousin on, and that was it. Oh, man, my face cracked. I went home crying. My drill team coaches felt so bad for me. They like, nah, come here. Heck no. For anybody we deny being on a team, y'all y'all all welcome. They done threw us a slumber party. We done performed on 4th Street Park. Like, they made me feel so loved. I love that family. I really don't have anything to say about that family. They, in fact, became a part of my soul tribe, where we are still divinely connected because we come from that side of our ancestors, which is the grandmother of the family, the purity. So, those who chose not to do right just chose not to, but the purity and the forgiveness is the character of a person. So I have a lot of respect for this family. But to move back on to the subject, I won that, and her parent got mad, came to the school, demanded that they kicked me off the team and put their daughter on, and that's exactly what they did, and killed my confidence. And that really killed my confidence a lot. And it was unfair treatment. In fact, by the time that school got done doing all of the things that they were doing onto the black community tore that school up. In the generation of the last year we attended in 9th grade, tore it up. I mean, wiped the place clean. Teachers, papers, desks, books, the whole school tore it up. The black and the white tore it up. And they shut it down. It was called George Washington Middle School. That was not a great school. It brought a lot of great childhood memories between the black and the white children. It brought a lot of friendship among us. It brought a lot of understanding among us. It brought a lot of love among us. It brought a lot of childhood fun at the swimming pools. We spent a lot of memories at that will never be forgotten. But there were a lot of negative apples in that school as well who chose to be this negative apple, like the root of their families. And for those who denied their children personal love and personal fulfillment, end up really being grandparents and learning how to accept and love people for who they are. And that's why we come along to be fair people and to be nice and to see that there is no color. It's only humanity. It's only spirit, the character, just being a good person. That's it. People don't do things because, this person is this color. People don't, that's ridiculous. Everybody don't have ill intentions because you choose to look at a perspective this way instead of for the honest way or a different way or a positive way. Especially if that person didn't just give off that spirit to you, give off that character to you or that vibe, that was really with intent. So that's why it's just always to be mindful, to be a little more respectful for people. And this also let me realize that no matter where you move, if you're not surrounded by good humanitarians, sometimes it's not okay to move in that neighborhood because of the race that lives there. And it's also not very healthy to put your children in schools for those reasons as well, because that's where the most bullies and attacks come um, from those who are bullied from being the black sheep or the one that don't fit in. Rather biracial, the only white child, the only black child, there's no different gender, it's just situations, because there's also white children that's in the poverty area that goes to the poverty school, and they have to play tough, they have to be tough to defend themselves. And that's where I started having problems with the child who was mentoring my children once they became a part of that teen part of the life where they're becoming attacked. Well, then they become under depression and under so many traumas. And I've watched him on a live video suffer a trauma, which was very heartbreaking. And from that moment, it has been hard for me to endure that, remembering of what happened to him. And that's why I've always just asked him and my son to just be on their best behaviors. And when they're not, they see the consequences of things, and that's when I have to separate them for good until these intentions can align with each other. There's nothing wrong with fixing your behaviors, but at some point I also had to explain with my son, we are not in these we is not in this position anymore where you have to fight. I took you out of school when you were 16 and made you get a job for these reasons so you can be comfortable and be virtual learning at home. I went to your school and told them you suffer from anxiety because you were having panic attacks. And in fact, I ended up giving therapy to the counselor who opened up to me about her family history. And I taught her how to heal. I also taught school systems how to work with the ADHD to get a better, progression from them, and just giving all kind of methods to those around to correct these behaviors. But I have to tell my son, sometimes you just can't bring your past life with you. If those who don't want to grow are still going to be affiliated with these behaviors, you have to let them learn and grow. It's nothing personally, but this just ain't where you at no more. You will always respect them when you see them again, or you can even call and check on them. But as far as allowing yourself to be around certain energies, and this go for him, his friend hanging around certain people as well. For every choice you make comes a consequence. For every choice you decide to hang around, you're going to get the same consequence of that choice you decide to hang around. So that's why it's always careful to be careful and, just work hard. You guys, this is a whole level of new, just a brand new feeling that I wasn't prepared to have and to feel like it took so much in me to get this out and to just have closure on what I've experienced through my darkness in the poverty area. And not only me, but those who grew up with me as well along in their journeys. Like I mentioned with my friend, me going to the hospital and having that calling from God for me and one of my family members to be there. I had also, in fact, seen the same situation first with my child's grandmother. She had came out of this really big surgery. She was conscious, everything was well. And by the time the family had made it home, before they could even put the key in the door, they had got a call from the hospital stating that something had happened to her just that fast. And we were all living in a project area. In fact, they live just literally right across and down the street from me, and the word had spread it so quick where the daughter had called me up to the hospital, and by this time her mother had transitioned. So I seen the same situation with my friend when me and my family member had a calling to go to the hospital. She had just got out of a big surgery too, and by the time her family members made it home, the same thing happened to her. So this certain situation is calling me to bring awareness to these families, to make sure we are calling lawyers and getting the answers that we need of why is this happening when the family happen to leave from the hospital. Why are these situations happening when the family members leave? So that's something that you guys may want to bring awareness to. Like I said, I've always had this gift. Even when I was a teen, a girl who had lost a fallen angel within the womb had prepared me for, when I had got older and experienced the same situation where another young lady had called me to the hospital when she lost her baby from the womb, and that was the first time a fallen angel was placed in my arms. And also, even as a teenager, me being a single mother at the age of 16, I had also experienced a pregnancy with another young lady. We had just went to homecoming, and she was having complications with her pregnancy where she experienced a fallen angel within the womb. And experiencing my daughter having club feet, which was a challenge where her foot was shaped like a golf club, and it took 11 months worth of surgery. And at the time of this young lady losing her baby, I just had my baby and had to reside next door to her house with my aunt, who spoiled every body in the family who had girls. She wanted all girls, but she had all boys. So ever since we were babies, she spoiled us with nothing but the best, made sure we had nothing but the best, and our children had nothing but the best, especially if they were girls. So she bought thousands of dollars for me and one of my family members who were pregnant at the age of 16. And she also was nice enough to allow me and my baby to have her room and make sure I had breakfast, make sure we went to doctor's appointments to correct her feet. And so as I was going through challenges, the girl next door was going through challenges, and she happened to be one of my baby's relatives at that. And, she wanted to hold the baby, and it was a very hard thing on me because I didn't just want her to have that attachment at a very young age after experiencing, that kind of trauma that she did at a very young age. It was hard to take on, but she in fact took it very well. We became best friends the whole 6 weeks of me staying at my aunt's. And, the baby just brought happiness within my family and her family. So the baby really brought blessings to both families at the time. And I've also experienced another girl that I went to school with in elementary, where she had a situation where her child's father, but that is her story. I don't like to go too deep into things. Certain things are too sensitive for me. But to move on from her situation, there were similar situations to hers that is leading me to tell these young women's stories, who was brought forth to me and was open with me about their stories, where the fathers are in fact dropping the babies somehow, and they are not and they are not bringing this awareness to the mothers while the mothers may be at work or wherever the case may be. The mothers are just not in the home. Most of these mothers I talked to were at work. And these incidents with the fathers dropping the babies, there were about 4 women who came to me and explained their situations of the same situations of the fathers somehow dropping the babies on the heads while the mothers are at work. And these mothers are getting their children taken away from them when they are not, in fact, involved in these situations. They are also unaware of these situations, and they are coming like warriors to get their children out of the systems for things that other people have done, and other people's decisions that were made very poorly. And for the fathers, I understand that mistakes happen, but as I mentioned in my old videos, if you want to go back and watch Man versus Woman, it explains that men think out of a logical state and women react out of intuition. So we always have that mother's intuition, something that men do not have. And men think logically the situations, and most of the time they overthink, and those be the wrong mistakes that they make. And I want the fathers to know, I understand that some parents are first-time parents. Everyone don't have the financial stability to go to good parenting classes and to learn these things that we need to learn, and just not being able to afford or have good attention span with reading, because I get bored with reading too. I can write a million books, but I'm not a reader. I'm a researcher. A lot of people love to read, and it's a very great therapeutic source for a lot of people. It's a very great meditation for a lot of people as well. But for some people, reading kind of is hard for people with short attention spans. And we just don't have the support. And I think it's very important for first-time parents to have early start nurses, where my mother had also in fact signed me up as a young teen when she just couldn't be home through my childhood. But when I got pregnant at an early teenage, she was able to be home more, and she also made me watch pregnancy movies, motherhood movies, birthing movies, birthing shows, Sweet 16. She made me watch a lot of things to prepare me for motherhood. And she also got me an early start nurse who, in fact, helped me and my daughter to be where we were supposed to be, me as a parent, and my daughter where she's supposed to be with her motor skills, cognitive skills, and just everything that she needed to learn within herself at her age. And she also gave me techniques to potty train. And I think some of us fathers need some of these classes where they are properly taught on how to hold a baby and how to have patience with the baby in these situations, because they don't have mother intuitions. They are logical thinkers. So they may just battle with things. But fathers, that's no excuse. When you make a big mistake like this, it is not okay to not do the right thing, which is follow your heart. In these situations, no matter how big the mistake is and how much you think you're going to get in trouble, everyone makes mistakes. That'll make you a bad person. Your choices is what makes you suffer that consequence for that poor choice that you make. Meaning, if you accidentally, happen to drop the baby, you report that to the mother as soon as possible. You call paramedics as soon as possible. You rush that baby to the hospital as soon as possible to get help. You do not cover it up, because then you serve that consequence for that poor choice that you made, because in that time that baby could have been saved. So we want to make sure we doing the proper procedures and not panicking and making poor choices. Because like I said, for every choice, positive or negative, comes a consequence with that choice. And we want to make sure we are doing the right things, being aware to things. And it was so hard for me to bring awareness to these situations, which there is more that I'm bringing more love, light, and healing to in the poverty area during this darkness, to bring enlightenment to. Like I said, it's not about us, it's about our stories. And this is the reason why I ran into people along my journey who was also of suffering and traumas, so I can be able to tell their stories as well. I've been trying to write, but writing isn't getting me anywhere. I feel like I have to express these things so we can start looking into things and looking into these experiences and bringing it back to my friend. I'm noticing that the hospitals are asking the oldest children to make important decisions that they are not ready to make, and they do not have the full knowledge and wisdom to make those calls for. And we just need awareness to these things to bring more light and love to these situations, and to bring more clarity to these situations so we can have closures within our families and within our close ones, and to make sure these things aren't happening all the time. And if they are, we want to bring awareness to why these things are happening in the poverty community and why they are being overlooked, and who can we talk to bring justice into these matters that are being overlooked and we are not getting closure from, which is the reason why it's causing a big strain of mental illness in the poverty areas, because we just don't have support. We have people with big organizations that are more political than being doing of God's work. And these people, because they are not accepting the people who God is bringing forth towards them to help heal these traumas and help bring and because they are not accepting, us people who are doing God's work and trying to heal those of sufferings and traumas. And I've went to a lot of big organizations within my community that I grew up in, and they all deny me from giving those in a community healing services to help the teens through their traumas, to bring more things like activities for our children to keep them out of trouble. They are denying me, and I see that it's bigger than writing. Now I'm voicing where people can help me find the resources that I need, or we can build each other up in our community and meet each other and have meetings and meeting with, having meetings and meeting each other and having meetings, talking about certain topics. There's days that I can meet with our young youth to get them the services that they need, to provide the activities that they need to stay out of trouble, and to just uplift each other, and to find the mentors to put in these schoolings that our children need, and just try to make poverty a better community to raise our children. But first, our stories have to be heard, and it's bigger than my story. It's all of our stories, because my story is a part of you guys' story. You guys' story is a part of my story, as we can see. everything that I talk about, someone can literally resonate with it, because these people was with me along my journey, and it happened to all of us in the poverty area. So I want you guys to know there's more things that I will be addressing as far as cold cases. No man is left behind. I love you all. I need 1,000 subscribers, because 1,000 subscribers help me help the community. And it helps us get things within a community as far as resources that we need, and funding and everything else that we need to build our community and to come out of this mental illness and this dark night. Because now it's a very great, now in the summer, or now that the flowers are blooming, it's just time. It's our time to get enlightenment. It's our time to get justice, and it's our time to be happy. We deserve it. And I hope you guys are inspired. I love you all. This took a lot for me just to let out. That's what the hold up was. I've been working on this thing for this assignment. I've been working on this big project for 3 days, fasting, no eat, no sleep, no water, no nothing. And then the 4th day, as you can see, I went into a rebirth, a new beginning, a big destruction, where a cop that was from my community end up in my new community, and those in my new community and higher authorities and organizations that I went to also deny me to help those in the teen youth overcome their trauma. So at this point, I learned a lot of lessons along my journey, and I also learned, although the government system within the community that I grew up in may have treated the suffering very wrong and full of injustice and inequality, but in my new beginning, the justice system actually served justice, dignity, integrity, and I can trust them, and they are helping, and I love them. And they, in fact, helped carry me along my way with protecting my sons and making sure that they just respected my children through their mental illness and coming out of these situations, far as these traumas that was brought on to us in the poverty area. So they understood a lot of things. They walked through things with me to help me help my children. And because they did, my children are healthy, everything is working out, and things are just falling into place how they supposed to. And they also, this just new beginning is just brought me a better eye on the living situations and how they are helping in these situations. So no matter what, there are people still along the way who are helping and who are willing to help you, even in the justice systems and the government systems. And there are some that are not, which are the ones where we have to bring awareness to, who are not treating us of good humanitarians. But also we want to bring enlightenment to those who are helping us, and we want to thank them for their support. And I hope you guys are inspired. I love everyone. Please don't forget to subscribe, because we're going to make a difference in our community, and we're going to build it up, and we're going to build each other up. And remember, I don't care if you're in a shower, I don't care if you're the only one woke at night, those childhood traumas come up, let them out. Let them out. If anger come out, express it to God, let it out, let God know why you're angry, and see the bigger picture in things. It's called healing It's time to forgive. It's time to heal. No more putting band-aids on wounds. It's time to heal them once and for all. And it's time for us to get the justice that we need and the closure that we need within ourselves and within our families. I love you all and thank you for your support. Have a great weekend.